Alright, got the pair of 26s over here. This being the 26 Gen 5 and this being a 26X 3.5 because it's got a Gen 3 RAM Sport slide with the Gen 5 19 frame. So how did you get this, you ask? Well, this is what used to be, like I said, a 19 frame. Alright, which I chopped off and then threw this sucker on here, but this is not it. I'm not done yet. Right here, if you look at this versus the 26, you can see what's obvious. The locking blocks are totally different, right? 26 being shorter, of course, and the subcompact. Well, this is a compact, and yep, the locking blocks are different, which is why doesn't matter, either or slide. Let's just put this RAM Sport back on. Yeah, it's got the magazine there. It was checked clear. Yeah, that won't work. It's because the rail's preventing it from going further back, right? Whereas, let me take this same slide with the 26 recoil guard rod, of course, on the actual 26. Okay. And I got locked back. Oh gosh, that's hard. Still got to break this slide in. That's what we're gonna do today. In order to make this thing cycle correctly all the way to the back, we're gonna have to remove this, match it with this. So how are we gonna do that? We can't just take this and throw it here. All right. We're gonna use, something like this. PF940SC locking block. Limited quantities, get them now before they run out because yeah, they're no longer making P80 builds. This is a P80 part. Okay, and what we're going to do is remove the locking block, of course, and the embedded rails to get it this short in order for the slide to cycle all the way back. If you look at 26, nearly identical. Right, if you match the holes. So that's what we got to do. Okay, now we're going to take it on the vise. Okay, make sure it's padded, make sure it's protected, make sure you remove everything in there, including the slide lock and spring and all the associated guts. So what we're going to do is we're taking our Dremel, something like this with an extension, so you get more dexterity. We'll be cutting these rails at the top. We'll be skimming the top of it. Okay, got to be very careful. Make sure you run a relatively slow speed at first. Again, be careful because one wrong move and you can just cut into your frame. So again, this isn't for the weak-hearted because that's only phase 1 of the cutting part. Phase 2 is going to be even worse. I'm going to start and see what we can do. Alright, well that was nerve-wracking. I got the top rails off already. So these two top rails, they're a part of an entire assembly, which is shaped like a U that's embedded into the frame. Alright, so with the sanding drum, you want control, control, control. Okay, so I'm gonna have to move this back a little bit more. You want to be able to somehow brace yourself. Also, keep your hands away from it and just keep it steady just like that. Go back and forth until it gets wide enough, and then just watch it because as this thing turns this way, you get caught in a certain way, it might go over and fuck up your frame that way. So again, be patient, little hits at a time, and then you're gonna throw your slide on and check for clearance until you have enough room to cycle the slide all the way back. Okay, and then the main thing is to get rid of this channel right here. You see that? This inner channel. is how it looks. That's the embedded rail. It's nearly flattened already, but again, if you can keep that in there, just keep it. My first time doing this, I removed the whole thing, and then I threw in some steel reinforced JB weld, which helped a good bit. I didn't see any deformity or cracking and whatnot, so the Glock polymer is absolutely resilient, so I don't foresee any issues doing this type of mod. But yeah, leaving that embedded rail is a plus. I'll take some kind of wheel just like this, drop a little oil there, come in, and just polish the sucker up about like 500 RPM or so. All right, phase 2 locking block. Now you're gonna take your old one or your original one. You're gonna put a trigger pin right through, just like that, match it up. If you notice, you can see some Sharpie marks right there. So what I did was line it up with the trigger pin, and whatever meat that you see hanging above, take a Sharpie, draw it across it, and then that'll leave you a mark to put it on a grinder or whatever cutting apparatus that you have to relieve some of that meat. And the reason why you do that is because that's where you align the hole for the stock one in relation to the hole in the frame. Right, so you want something like this. If I can get it in there one-handed, it's pretty hard. All right, fuck me, hang on. Okay, so this is the stock one. This is the result that you want. You want something that you can just pass the pin right through, and that's what you're trying to achieve with that. Also, for the legs, you're gonna have to cut, I want to say half of it first to start with. I want to say I ended up about maybe here, cutting about this much off. I'll probably show like a B-roll of the previous work on the locking block, but yeah, you're gonna have to cut it, do some trial and error. I want to say for the 19 frames, you're gonna have to take some of this meat, some of the meat right about here, just a little, just to clear. Let me see here, man, I gotta take this off again, hang on. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, again, the locking block, you're gonna take some meat off right here, like in the upper section. Like, see this meat right here, that has to clear this hump over here, okay, right where it goes over the slide lock. So you're gonna have to play with some of the meat, and when I'm done, I'll show you what I got for the end result. All right, after about an hour or so, this is what I came up with. You can see the distance between the hole and the bottom of the locking block, the legs chopped off, some of the meat relieved on the top, okay. And then when we install this, so there's a lot of trial and error with doing this stuff. You're gonna cut here, you're gonna cut there, you're gonna throw it in the frame, and remove meat as necessary. All right, don't just take a little at a time. Don't go rushing and removing a whole bunch of stuff. Also, do not remove any more meat than you need to on the frame. I mean the plastic. Right. So leave as much as possible. Leave this alone. Do not cut any more than you need to, or don't even cut anything at all past what we just did for the rails. For the rails, again, yep, just go ahead, hit it with a polisher, clean up some of the Dremel walk or whatever mess you made. I think I'm getting better and better at this. And then, yep, and then just, go ahead and put it in, make sure the pin goes through, make sure all your parts go in through, like really buttery smooth. And that is it for the most part. So let me go ahead and install everything and see how this thing runs. All right, she is in. As you can see, nice, just like stock almost, right? One thing you want to take note as well is the gaps, right? This is a 3/32 punch. You want to make sure the drag is just as easy as the back or the original frames. Oops. Right, same thing, 3/32. If you got a larger gap, that means you need to cut more on this, or you've messed up the geometry at the legs. But for me, it's nice and drag free. So the height is exactly the same as the stock embedded rails. Okay, that's what you want to achieve. So let me go ahead and install the whole gun, or assemble the whole gun, and then I think we're done. Oh, by the way, I put this ambi extended slide stop from the Glock 34. I figure I do the same with my 26. And what do you know, it locks back. Okay, now what we're gonna check now is make sure there's no drag, make sure you lock back, which we just saw, and then also tightness. Okay, sometimes if you get it wrong, you can be I mean, Glocks are always going to be wiggly and whatnot. Look at the stock 26, right? So it does that, what do you call that, trampolining, whatever you call it. As for us here with this, of course there's barely any because the locking block is tighter than the stock one. And then yeah, the barrel trampolines, they all do the same. All Glocks do that. But there's some, like my 1917 and my 26 XLC, barrels are tight because of the locking block. But hey, it varies between different models. Of course, you know, it is what it is. Not all frames and locking blocks are created equal. Don't forget to add some of the Loctite LB 8008 or C5A copper NCs on your parts, just like this. I mean, this is brand new, so I just put it where the disconnector goes. Maybe some here with the striker interfaces, and then of course some parts of the rail, and including the disconnector. And then I'm probably going to put some on the rails here just for break-in, because it's after all a brand new gun, brand new assembled gun from nearly from scratch. Again, a real 26X, not a Glock Store 1, not Nomad Defense, not anybody else. This is almost like the real deal. So yeah, this is what's involved to get something like this. You can do it yourself if you have the guts to mess with a Dremel. I don't want to say I highly encourage you to do so, but if you have no other choice and you don't want to spend 150 bucks on another frame, or you're just feeling crafty, go for it, right? But if not, send it to somebody who knows what they're doing. Yeah, this is it. 26X go together with the 26. Baby here. Here's a toddler. And that is all I got.